What's up, nerds? Steve, Tactical Trading. Wanted to make a quick video on PSA's backlog. I know there's a lot of news going around about this. A lot of people talking about it. Rudy's pumping his grading company. I just don't think this is a big deal. I think for individuals this sucks, but for individuals this has sucked. PSA backlog has been a problem for individuals submitting their cards for the last 6 months. So as somebody who's built their business on grading cards, I feel like I can speak on this some. Again, like for me selfishly, for you, if you're a big grader with PSA, like, yeah, this does affect you, but the shutdown doesn't really affect you. You're already waiting 6 months. So their backlog right now is 10 million cards. Their goal is to get their backlog back down to 5 million before they open submissions back up at the value and bulk tiers. So from like a whole market perspective, the amount of cards that are going to be coming back from PSA and hitting the market is not going to be disrupted. Your individual submissions will be, but your individual submissions would have been disrupted a month ago, 3 months ago, whatever. Like the time for your cards to come back has already been where I think these cards or their wait times are going to stay. So, like, I think there's a few different things to talk about here, and one that I don't want to ignore is in the last, like, the post-COVID boom that we had in Pokemon, and really all TCGs, I think one of the top indicators for that market was PSA shutdown. Like, that is something to keep in mind. But for it, like the people that are saying that PSA not accepting submissions anymore and having a conversation around cards no longer hitting the market and creating even more of a shortage, I just don't really agree with that viewpoint, because PSA will open back up their lower tiers and people will begin to submit again when PSA gets their backlog down to 5 million. So they say. So I think as long as they deliver on their message, then I don't really think the macro slab market changes a whole lot. What I do think you will see, and people who are heavy into grading cards like I was for the last couple of years and trying to build my business with that and using that cash flow and capturing that premium from slabs to give your cards more value before you go into the market, I think you will see more people leaning on other grading services because that's what you're going to have as an option. So services like the CGC Fanatics that Dan runs through Catch 'em All Collectibles, like I think this will be really good for him and for other grading companies. I think Beckett will see more attention. Rudy just put out a video, talked about how he's seeing a huge uptick as well. Like, I think you will see more people grading with other companies, but I think that may be a mistake depending on what your goals are. So one of the ways that I really built my business was lower value cards, and then like $5 to $10 cards, grading them as 10s, and then selling for $30 to $40. So very low dollars, but very high percent returns. Like, I think that play is kind of gone and has been for a while. That's why I haven't done it for a while. When grading prices went to 18, those plays became more difficult. When they went to 25, they became it was you weren't making money on a play like that. So I think it's going to create some opportunities, specifically in that lower end single card market. I think there is probably a play here, specifically with what I always did was low end Japanese. So current sets, let's say a new set came out and there were 7 or 8 IRs that I really liked, or ARs for the Japanese sets that I was buying for $5 a piece. Like, I don't think a ton of people are buying those and putting them in slabs moving forward for at least for the short to medium term until this opportunity comes back with PSA and graded prices come down. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people playing in that low end singles market. So there could be some opportunity there if you've got cash and dry powder, then building positions in lower end singles with the intent to submit to PSA later this year, early next year. Is that the best place to put your money? Probably not, but I think like that will create opportunity because you'll see smaller populations of a lot of these Japanese ARs over a longer period of time because of this disruption today. But like if your business is grading cards, like I think you seriously need to consider a service like CGC Fanatics and using Catch 'em All Collectibles his platform there to just churn cash flow and move your cards as fast as possible. The black label play is always there with Beckett. Not a huge fan of Beckett. I've got a ton of 9.5s that I've had for a long time that just don't move, even below PSA prices. So like you can get lucky with the black labels, and the pristine 10s are really nice. Typically fetch a higher premium than a PSA 10 would, but you just don't have the liquidity even on pristine 10s. So Beckett really is more that home run play. If it's not a black label potential, then I don't submit. And I've submitted maybe a few hundred cards to Beckett over the last couple of years, not a ton, but I've submitted probably 10,000 cards with PSA. So it would be like the best of the best cards that you would send to Beckett. And I think I know I've gotten 2 black labels in all my submissions. So that's kind of my thoughts on this whole thing. Again, like from like the macro side of this and talking about slabs actually coming onto the market, I don't think PSA shutting down is going to affect that at all. It obviously affects the individual, but as far as the amount of graded cards coming back into the open market, I just don't think this is really that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to affect very much at all. So that's really all I had to say. If you guys are interested in working with me, we run a website called Tactical Trading. We specialize in wholesaling Chinese product. Mostly the gem sets is what we focus on, but we have started to broaden our SKUs out a little bit, playing around with some Riftbound. Have some mainline Chinese sets and some collection boxes that people are requesting. So we're slowly building our SKUs out, and we'll continue to do that over time. But super easy to register on the site. Just put your information in. Once you click this button here and go to the next step, it'll just ask you for your resellers form. So we do sell business to business, wholesale only, so you're not paying taxes, and our prices that you see on the site are the prices that you pay. So no shipping, you don't pay shipping, and you don't pay sales tax when you work with us. Our goal is to provide businesses with product that has margin on it for the retail side. So that's all I had for today. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you soon.